Middle of the Pack podcast.
Literally didn't give it another thought. Do you know what I mean? Until I was home and I was back, and my daughter rang me whenever it was released, and she was like, "Ma'am, you've gone viral on TikTok." And I was like, "What are you talking about?"
Welcome to episode 25 of the Middle of the Pack podcast. And there you heard Anne O'Neill, this week's guest, talking about that moment when she became a TikTok sensation. There's a lot more to Anne O'Neill than just having a brief appearance on TikTok, which we will find out on this week's episode. So we kick off the conversation where I've just asked Anne how she got into running, and let's take it on from there. Welcome to episode 25 of the Middle of the Pack podcast.
I suppose prior to running, I loved walking. I was a big walker, and I enjoyed the gym and stuff. And I had an interest in running, but I didn't know where to start. I was like, how do people start, you know? And probably at the time, maybe a bit self-conscious as well, thinking, you know, what did I think I was doing? But anyway, literally met a friend. We're still friends, lifelong friends. And she was a runner. And at the time she was living in the Middle East, and I'm from Youghal, and she came to Youghal for the summer. And I spoke to her, and when she mentioned running, I said, "Oh, I'd like to run," or "I think I'd like to run." And she said, "Oh, no bother, I'll take you out sometime." And that never happened. She ended up going back to the Middle East before we got a chance to go out. But then she came back again, and I met her in the gym one day actually, and she was training for New York Marathon at the time. And I was in the gym on the treadmill, and like literally all over the place. I was walking, and then I was speeding up, and then I was slowing down. And she said, "Anne," she said, "you're well able to run." She said, "If you just settled," do you know what I mean? So I said, "Grand, take me out," and took me out the next day. And the rest is history, as they say. 79 marathons later, we're still going.
You're aiming for 100, isn't it?
Hopefully, yeah, hopefully. But look, we'll see. We'll see. You know how life pans out. We'll see.
So way back, I'm assuming it was way back. How many years are we talking about that?
So I was just looking at my list there before I spoke to you. So I did Dublin Marathon in 2005.
So how many marathons a year were you doing then? Or are you?
So initially it was like, at the time when I did Dublin Marathon, I said, "Oh yeah, that was great. I'll do that again next year." And there again, my friend Val contacted me at Christmas time, and she said, "Will we do London next year?" And I was like, "Oh no, not so soon." But of course I did. I never refused an opportunity of a trip or whatever. So did London the next year. And then for the next couple of years, we kind of did maybe 2 a year.
Yeah.
And that was going fine. And then there again, every story I tell you will always relate back to my friend Val. Then she started doing multiple marathons, and of course I jumped on that bandwagon. So there was maybe a year or two where I did like maybe 12 in the year, when I was doing one a month.
Wow.
Yeah.
So were you just kind of in a state of not marathon blocks then? You were just tipping?
You see, like when I think back to that, like, you know, marathon preparation can be so difficult, and you're building and whatever. Whereas when you're doing multiple marathons, there's no building, because like the longest run you'll do between a marathon like is 10 miles. Do you know what I mean? That's kind of what I did. Do you know what I mean? And it was, in some ways, it was almost easier. I don't know what it was, but at the time it felt easier, and there was no big pressure. There was no big preparation. It was like, "Oh yeah, we'll rock up next month." And these were, are you familiar with Marathon Club Ireland?
I've heard of it.
Yeah. So these would have been marathons. So they were running marathons. Obviously, they were small, low-key marathons all over the country. So it was easy to plan one a month, you know what I mean? Because there was always at least one a month that was being organised. So we did the length and the breadth of the country, and we did that for a while. And then I suppose I went back to college then. I'm to study nursing in 2013. So that kind of put a stop to my gallop for a while. And I still did them, but I wasn't able for the multiple marathons, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then 2018 I was diagnosed with cancer, so that put a stop to me for a little while, but still came back. Do you know what I mean? I never stopped. I never actually stopped running. Obviously there was times when, you know, there might be a bit of time go by, but like I never said to myself, "Okay, that's me done," you know?
So what was the biggest gap between marathons for you?
So it was actually this like previous to pre. So I've like 2000 last year I did three. It was supposed to be four, and previous to that I hadn't done one for 6 years.
Okay. So you did have
But
to,
I hadn't stopped running, but I hadn't done a marathon. You know.
yeah, yeah,
And like that now, my friend Val, who she had reached her 100 marathon, and then she kind of, looked in other areas. She did Iron. She subsequently done Ironman and different things. So, do you know what I mean? I'd
yeah,
ask
yeah,
her, "Oh,
yeah.
what are we doing next?" And look, life happens. Do you know what I mean? Things get busy, and like there's lots of different things happen. And so, yeah, literally, then I presume it must have been this time last year. And I can't remember what came first, actually. Did I decide, okay, that I'm going to go back running marathons, or did the ad for the New York Marathon come up?
Okay.
And once I saw that, then I said, oh, yeah, I definitely want to do New York. And then all of a sudden, I said, sure, I might as well do a few. Sure, look, but I always said, do you know what I mean? And I even said it in my interview in New York, 76 was a silly number to stop at. Do you know what I mean? I was
Yeah,
never going
yeah,
to stop at that.
yeah, yeah.
Um, so then I just decided last year, I said, look, this is the year to get back at it. And so ended up, I did a couple here in London and then New York. I was supposed to, then I actually, while I was at home in Youghal, actually, in the summer, fell and broke my shoulder. So that took me out of action for a while. So that then I actually ended up missing one that I had planned to do. So New York was originally meant to be marathon number 80, but it ended up being marathon number 79.
That would have been, and that wasn't your first major, was it?
Oh no.
No.
So I've done London, Berlin, New York now. I have another marathon. I have another major done. My mind has gone blank.
You've done
But
four.
anyway, yes, yeah, I've done four. So I have Boston and Tokyo to do.
And are they in the pipeline or are they?
So I'm hoping. I don't think I'll do any major this year. I'm hoping to do Tokyo next year. So we have a plan. So I have three kids, and my son Gary has done 10 marathons,
Wow.
and then Daniel is also a runner, but he hasn't done marathon. But Jap they love Japan and they love Japanese culture. So I said it's kind of a plan that we will combine that and make it a family trip and family marathon as well. So I'm hoping the two lads will do a marathon. And my daughter Neve said she's also going to come. So it's going to be a family. Hopefully. These are pipeline dreams, you know what I mean, that you hope will come to fruition. And if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But hopefully. So I'm thinking next year for Tokyo.
That's 2027 as opposed to,
2027. Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
So this year, so I'm actually going to Seville to do the half this month. So once that's over, I need to sit down and make a plan and plan a few for this year, just to start building the numbers as well. And
yeah,
so
yeah.
that's the plan for this year.
It's like it. I mean, it's inspiring. I was just so I was putting it down to my greatest sporting achievement doing Cork Marathon, and then after
Yes,
doing doing Dublin Marathon in the same year, I was going.
yes.
That was a tough. I think I did two marathon blocks, but as you were saying, maybe if you don't have to do the blocks, but the blocks, the second block was really hard.
There is something really soul destroying, isn't there, when you get towards the end of the block
Yeah,
and you're
yeah,
thinking and you start questioning all your life choices and you're thinking, why am I even doing this? But of course,
yeah.
then it comes to marathon day and it's always worth it. It's always
Absolutely.
worth it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and yeah, it's the long runs. I think in the
Oh,
prep.
they can be soul destroying.
Yeah,
It depends. I mean, I always consider myself a very sociable runner. I love running with people.
yeah,
And once I'm running and I'm chatting, it's fine. But I suppose the last couple of years, because I'm nursing now and I work shift work, and it's impossible. I have to run by myself. Do you know what I mean? And that was a,
yeah,
a decision I had to make. I was a case of either run by yourself or just forget about it because it's never going to happen. Do you know what I mean?
yeah.
Um,
Is there
so
are
that
like,
can be hard.
are you like a park runner in between times, or are you like,
So what I've done is like that. Just this past year, I used the Runner app.
yeah,
So I found that really really helpful because it gave me a structure and it gave me. Do you know what I mean? Because unless when you have to run by yourself, you need something, because if you're running with other people, then I always found that great because you had a plan and you'll always turn up. If you've made a plan to run with somebody at a certain time, you'll always turn up.
Yeah.
Whereas if you're running by yourself and you wake up in that morning and think, oh yeah, I'll do it in the afternoon, and then the afternoon, oh, I'll do it later. You know what I mean? Whereas if you have, I just found the structure of the Run app then helped, because I
Yeah.
was like, okay, today I need, so, and even at that, I still like twice or three times a week, but that's enough for me. Do you know what I mean? And that'll get me to marathon, or it'll get me to half marathon,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know? Anything at all that keeps you accountable, I
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
definitely helps,
So
for
you're
sure.
so you're a full-time nurse or part-time
I
or
know I work full time. That's why, like, like I say, I'll definitely get out twice a week. There are other weeks. I mean, I was home for Christmas, and obviously I have friends at home, and they'll say, "Ring up, how about a 5K or whatever?" I'll never refuse a run like that.
yeah,
But like, as regards training, then I try to do at least twice a week. And
yeah,
like the Runner app will like you tell them what kind of a pace you do. You tell them what, you input all this information, and it will give you it'll give you a plan for twice a week. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah.
And that works for me.
And obviously there's always a bit of flexibility if you're doing 2 or 3 days that you can
Oh,
go.
absolutely. Because I have in my app, I have like Thursday and Sunday. Whereas like, because then I could be working Sunday, so Sunday becomes Monday. But like, I know that like if I'm carrying the run over, then it needs to be done the next day, or whatever.
Yeah, yeah. But prior to that then, like in the beginning, were you just self teaching and or just following Val's plan or
Oh, I always follow Val's plan. Yeah. And then for a while I was just tipping away, just doing, bits and pieces. But then actually when I came, so I'm in London now, coming up to 3 years. And last year again, met another famous Cork lady, Brenda Dennehy.
yeah, yeah,
And yeah, so Brenda, I credit her and I sent her a message one day saying she helped me fall back in love with running. She started a running group, and I joined her, and we had great fun. And then it was through her that I kind of discovered the Runner app. And even when I'm running, I use her. She has like put together music, for running. So I use her Brenda's music, and so I credit her with definitely helping me fall back in love with running.
yeah. It is one of
That
the
was a great help.
yeah. Well, I think like my wife and I run together when we can, but
Yes,
we have kind of we're in a running club, but we also have then kind of running friends and running groups
yes.
and the social side of it is so important. At
Oh,
our
yeah.
my level anyway, it's almost like you're looking, and even for Sunday long runs, the discussion is more we will be back for 10 a.m. for coffee kind of thing. So
Yes, absolutely. The
if
most
you're the
that's the most important part of it, is the coffee at the end,
yeah you run to
and
your
the chats that you have while you're out. It's great. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah. I was at a running weekend and I was with this girl and we had a like 30-kilometer run kind of thing. It was one of the marathon blocks. Jeepers, the amount of things we were sharing with each other
I
and
know it's amazing. I
yeah,
mean, I could tell you, I've 100 stories like that about these random people that I met, and we had the most in-depth conversations. And I'll probably never meet them again in my life. You know what I mean? But
yeah.
yeah, yeah, I love all that.
And so you hit the 79 marathon and I'm after forgetting the name of the show now. The girl that interviewed you to
Yes,
say, "Is this your
yes,
first marathon?"
uh-huh.
Were you waiting in line for that, or was that
Absolutely, absolutely not. So it was completely random. So I actually went to New York on my own, and I went with Sports Tours International.
yeah,
Fabulous organization. They were brilliant. So when I signed up, I was actually ended up I signed up to share a room with somebody that, a random person, because I didn't have anybody going with me. And her name, I met Sharon from Scotland, and she was running her first marathon. And randomly again, for our last few miles, I actually ended up meeting her. So we
okay,
finished the marathon together, and we met her brother and sister, and it was all fabulous. So then when we finished, obviously, the when you finish a marathon, you have to keep moving, and it's like everyone says, keep moving forward, and there's a meeting point. And Sharon, obviously, she was just struggling a little bit, and I was just trying to encourage her to keep moving, because I said, if you stop now, you know what I mean, we'll never get back, for her own
yeah, yeah,
sake. So this guy heard me speaking, and he said, "Oh, you're Irish?" And I said, "I am." And he said, "Where are you from?" And I said, "I'm from Cork." He said, "Oh, I'm from Galway." I said, oh, I was in Galway a couple of weeks ago. And my friend Val lives in Galway. She's originally from Cork, but lives in Galway. And he said, oh, we're doing interviews. We haven't interviewed anybody from Ireland yet. Would you do an interview? And like literally, as it came across in the interview, like I was high as a kite. I had had the best day of my life. New York had been like stunning and amazing and a brilliant experience. And I actually had my friend travel from Boston, Maura, to come and support me. And I had had the best day. So of course I was like, oh yeah, no bother, of course,
Yeah.
And like it was, just he brought me over to this lady. And then there was another guy behind, that was recording, and I was chatting to him, and it was all very, very casual, very relaxed, and literally did the interview and like literally didn't give it another thought. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Until I was home and I was back, and my daughter rang me whenever it was released, and she was like, "Ma'am, you've gone viral on TikTok." And I was like, "What are you talking about?" And she said, and I was like, "Oh my God, what did I say? I can't, you know what I mean?" And then I began to think, "Oh my God, what did I even say?" And then how can I, and then literally my phone blew up. I had people ringing me and texting me saying, "Oh my God, we've seen the interview." And at this stage, I hadn't even seen it myself. I was nearly afraid to look at it. I thought, what did I even say? But like, it literally just blew up.
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
mad.
I mean, I didn't think it was staged, but like she was so shocked, and I loved you kind of did a woohoo.
I know. Well, that was the guy behind the camera who, do you know what I mean? We were having a bit of banter with. I was having a bit of banter with him as well. So
Yeah,
that was about.
but it's had 750,000 likes at this stage. Like,
Well, I actually checked in with my daughter today, so she said over 5 million. It's gone over 5 million.
jeepers.
Views. It's mental. Like I'm still getting messages, as you know what I mean, on Instagram, and people wanting to follow me and etc. Do you know what I mean? It's mad. Even though it has kind of settled down now, and I'm kind of coming back down to earth again. But it was an amazing experience. It was just mad.
Yeah, I know, but I would imagine because even like I was saying, even for me, like I get inspired by that because I'm an older person and I'm kind of going, I just want to be able to run as long as I can and do as many marathons as I can, although
Of
it's not,
course.
so then you see people doing 79, you're going, and you're going for 80, or sorry, 100, which is even better.
Yeah, yeah.
So have you got a kind of a time scale for like where your final 100th marathon? Are you hoping to do it in a
I,
special
I
place?
actually I actually don't have a plan. So like the plan will evolve. You know what I mean? The plan will evolve as time goes on. But I suppose I have one idea in my head is that, so like, as I said, I'm from Youghal, and Youghal would have had Ironman a few years ago. So
Yeah.
like we do actually have a marathon course. You know what I mean? So part of me thinks I would love to do it in Youghal. Just do a one-off kind of a thing, you know what I mean? I don't know. I have no idea. But that's one of the ideas in my head. And people have said to me, "Oh, wouldn't it be great to do it in Youghal?"
Oh, so you
So
might
we'll see.
look for special permission and run your 100th.
I have no idea. I have no idea what the protocol is. We'd get the athletic club involved maybe, and who knows? Who knows? Or maybe I just do the half and do it twice or something like that. I have no idea.
Yeah, yeah.
But I just think part of me thinks it would be really nice to do it. Do you know
Of
what I mean?
course, yeah, or Cork,
Or
maybe.
Cork or
Yeah,
whatever. Like I
yeah.
said, I have no plan, but I just think the plan will evolve as time goes on.
So have you
We
done,
take everything as it comes.
when you were doing the marathons in Ireland, have you done the kind of the big, like the Cork one?
Oh yes, absolutely. I've done Cork several times. I've done Dublin several times. Limerick, Connemara,
Belfast?
Belfast. I did Belfast once. It lashed raining. It was an awful day, but anyway, yeah, I've done Belfast. Yeah, so I've done all the main. Yeah, I've done all the official ones in Ireland. Yeah.
And is there a favourite in Ireland?
Is there a favourite in Ireland? Yeah, so I've done. I love Clonakilty. It hasn't happened now for the last couple of years, but I always loved Clon.
Yeah.
That was in December, and Newton, like the race director Bob, know him very well, and we always had a fabulous weekend in Clonakilty for a few years. So yeah, that holds a very special place in my heart also.
I know people that, like that can do the 12 marathons, or they seem to be able to go from half marathons to marathons. And do you think that's your kind of makeup, or is that just basically you've been able to train yourself and become that way? Do you know what I mean? Because I like long
Yeah.
runs as such, but I'm not sure if the old body could cope with
Yeah,
long marathons. Do you know what I mean? But
yeah,
there are
yeah.
some people that are running all the time and keep it going. Do you know, or is it?
Yeah, I suppose it depends on what you hope to achieve. Do you know what I mean? And
Yeah,
what your goal is. And I mean, there would have been a time that like I had a focus. I wanted to break 4 hours, and I trained for that, and I went to Amsterdam. Amsterdam is flat, blah. You know what I mean?
yeah,
And it didn't happen on the day, and it can be. I mean, it can be soul destroying when that happens. You know.
I know.
Um, and then I after that I kind of shifted my whole mindset, and I thought, well, what am I doing? Or like what do I hope to achieve? And I love running. I love what running has given to me. I love, do you know what I mean? The experience of running. I enjoy races. So I just changed my mindset, and I think that probably made doing multiple marathons easier, when it was all about, okay, let's see what today brings. Let's see how we get on, you know, let's see what the chats are going to be today. Do you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah,
And I presume, I mean, like I said, I have been lucky that I have never really had an injury. So maybe there's something in my makeup that suits long, slow running. Maybe
yeah,
that's it
yeah,
as well. You
yeah, yeah.
know,
Because I suppose it come like often. I think the injury comes when you're pushing and when you're trying to.
for sure.
Yeah, and but there is so much to go with what you're saying because sometimes when the longer runs, you miss an awful lot. You miss the atmosphere if you're focusing on a time or
Oh,
focusing on
absolutely.
your
Yeah,
watch. But
yeah,
being
yeah.
able to take it and just take it in your stride. So what would you kind of average now? Would it be like 4.5, 5 hours? Or?
Oh no, I'm well gone from 4.5. Well gone from that. So since I came back, like, I could be 5.5, I could be 6. You know what I mean? I like, well gone from. I literally, when you're running twice a week, and when you're have taken a 6 year break
Yeah,
from
yeah.
marathon running, and you decide that you're coming back, for the love of it and for the experience, I just take it as I just.
But that's the right attitude, isn't it? And particularly if you're going for another 20, like it's
Well,
just
it's what works for me. You know what I
yeah,
mean? And I totally listen. I'm always inspired by the people that are so focused, and you know what I mean, and like have their training plan and have their diet down to a T, and I have great respect for those people. That's just not where I am at right now. You know what I mean?
yeah.
And I think there's a place for us all.
Well,
There's a place.
I mean that's the whole idea of this podcast. It's not about like interviewing people that are doing marathons in 2 to 3 hours. It's all about, and
Huh.
it's not just marathons. It's doing 5Ks in 30 minutes, 5Ks in 40 minutes.
Yeah, yeah,
We
yeah.
had Sinead Power on, and she's a great supporter of the podcast actually. But she does marathons in 7 hours and 6.5 hours, and we talked about the fact that that probably takes an awful lot more out of you than somebody that's flying around in 3 hours.
Yes, yes, yes,
It's
yes,
so
yes.
much
Well,
more.
look, like I say, each to their own. And if you're enjoying it and if you love it, that's the most important thing, I think. You know what I mean? And if you're loving breaking, PBs and going for that, I have great respect for everybody that does that. That's just not where I am at right now, and that's not going to stop me doing what I enjoy. That's
And how,
that's the way I look at it.
and how do you fuel yourself going around? What's your
It's fun. It's a funny thing, because going back to that famous day in Amsterdam where things didn't go well and I was taking gels and whatever. I think from that day to this, I've never taken a gel since,
all right?
because they just did not suit me. I keep it very simple. Water, jellies, whatever. If somebody gives me something, wants to give me something, I'll try it. I keep it very basic, very, very basic.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it's just in the circles that we are. Everyone talks about gels, but
Yeah, yeah.
if you're going around in 5 hours, you must get hungry though. You must need something like.
No, not really. Not really. I'm never aware of that while I'm out there. I'm not really aware. Like I said, in New York, my friend met me at some stage and had a bottle of Coke and some jellies and stuff. Now I would take just a sup of, you know what I mean? I wouldn't take
Yeah,
very
yeah.
much Coke, because obviously that wouldn't do you great. But and then just recently, I've started running with another group of women in London here, actually, and they were recommending something. And I said, "Oh yeah, I must do that." And I still haven't got. I still haven't.
I mean, I know I ended up more with a drinks mix in Dublin and took gels, but very training with the same gel. I wouldn't risk anything on the day.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And what about recovery afterwards? Are you kind of one that like, you see some people hobbling around? It didn't.
No, I recover fairly quickly. I wouldn't actually I just lost a toenail last night. I'm thinking, oh, that must have been New York. That took a while. But generally generally I recover. I have no issues with recovering.
Oh, that's good though, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Obviously, if you're trying to fit 12 in one year, you wouldn't need.
Oh God be with the days now. That's been a while since I did that. But no, even after New York, like a little bit stiff the next day, but fine really. Do you know what I mean? And still walked around and was fine, and flew home the next day, and like 2 days afterwards, and no issues whatsoever.
And did that TikTok TV company ever follow up, or were they just took advantage of your five
Oh no,
million?
well I had some contact because Kieran was the Irish guy that spoke to me originally. So he was in touch with me because RTE actually used the clip as well. So he messaged me one day at work saying, "Oh, RT have been in contact." So it was actually on the afternoon show, that Dahi does.
Yeah, yeah.
So they RT contacted them, and then he contacted me and stuff.
And did they
So
interview you as well?
no, they just showed the clip,
Okay.
a part of the clip from the interview. So yeah, I have been in touch with them a little bit.
Yeah, because it is amazing and it is inspiring in a way, like the amount of people that I knew, like even when I've said, I've got Anne O'Neill coming on and she's going to be, and the minute you go, she's the woman that did the 79. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. But
Yeah, it's insane. Like it was really funny. Do you know what I mean? To have people contact me and then to go home and have people say it and stuff. And then like the or the Evening Echo got in contact and I did an interview with them, and then you'd be amazed. People would see that article when they wouldn't see something online. Do you know what I mean? So the
yeah,
people
yeah.
then said, "Oh, I saw the article," thinking that was it. So you'd be surprised, but it was like it was very far-reaching for sure. You know.
Everyone in Youghal was delighted.
Ah, yeah, sure. The feedback was great, and like it's always nice to have something positive to celebrate rather than there's enough.
I know, so enough
Yeah,
doom and
doom and
negativity.
gloom. Exactly.
Yeah.
Listen. It was just a feel good factor for a little while. Do you know what I mean? And it gave people a boost, and that was good.
So short term, in the next few months, what are the goals, the races,
So
the runs?
literally, I'm doing the half in Seville now this month, and then I'm going to sit down and make a plan. Like I definitely. So this January, like I'd hope to be doing a marathon by April. We'll say April. I hope to be doing a marathon by April.
But haven't got one picked.
No, but it will be locally. So there's a couple of running clubs in London, also Phoenix Running Group, and they literally do marathons kind of every week as well. So it's very
Okay.
easy to sign up for one of those like that now, low key, nice course out along the Thames and stuff. And so that's a way of building your numbers. You know what I mean? Because obviously you can't always be going abroad and doing majors. You know what I mean? If you're trying to build numbers, then you have to look for other. I beg your pardon. Look for other options. You know what I mean? So that's a very good option for me. Do you
So
know?
would they be official races? Like, will
Oh,
they have?
absolutely. Oh, yeah. They absolutely. Yeah. So they're all verified and they all count towards
But
your numbers. Yeah.
but they obviously wouldn't be thousands running them. They'd be
Oh
more.
no, no, no. And like that, you have an option. Like it's a loop. So if you have an option of doing like 5K, 10K, half marathon on the day or whatever. And some people then just keep running. They go beyond marathon distance.
Of the
Yeah,
ultras.
but yeah, the ultras. So it is official and it's recognized, and you get a medal and all that. So
Listen, the TikTok was inspiring, and I'm delighted that you took the time to come on because your story is inspiring as well, and I really appreciate you coming on and
not at all.
yeah.
Always happy to talk.
And when you hit keep in touch because maybe we'll all be running around you all to celebrate your 100.
Wouldn't it be great? Wouldn't it be great?
Yeah, and I think there could be mileage in that. You just
Yeah,
put
there
out a
could be.
couple.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah,
If it's meant to be, it'll happen. That's
yeah,
for sure.
brilliant. Listen, Anne, thank you very much.
Great talking to you. Thanks so
All right,
much. Bye
thank
now.
And that's Anne O'Neill, episode 25 of the Middle of the Pack podcast guest. And I thank Anne for joining me on this week's show. I do hope you've enjoyed it. We're here. It's launched every week. Every Wednesday, the show is launched. Next week, we're going to have Laura Muddy Souls. Believe it or not, that's her handle on TikTok. But her name is Laura Jane Stenton Slater, and she has already embarked on, but is still in the process of preparing to run the London Marathon in a pair of welly boots. So that will be episode 26, guests, released next Wednesday. But I do hope you've enjoyed our time with Anne O'Neill, and you can follow us on Middle of the Pack podcast on Instagram and TikTok. But for this week, thanks for listening and keep on running.